Excellent. Awesome. Thanks so much for coming tonight, guys. Friday night webinars. I love my Friday nights. I look forward to it all day, and tonight is going to be fun. It's going to be a little different. I was just explaining. I often do a really big sort of meditation, recode kind of thing after some education. But tonight we have this week, I have this emotional mastery program coming up that I'm working with a couple other coaches with. So we've just been like diving into the frequency of emotions and all this kind of stuff. But in of course, every time I do an event, it's really neat because it sort of brings stuff up every day when you're preparing for it, you're writing for it, you're promoting it, you're doing all sorts of stuff, and you're really focusing on a certain emotion, and that emotion comes about in that day. And so I don't know how you guys are doing out there. It's been like a big couple of days. There's been lots of big shifts happening for people. There's been lots of, I always kind of dive a bit into the cosmic stuff, and then we're going to get into some frequency stuff, because when we bring up emotions, when we have all this stuff moving through, it's like, how do we cope with it? And there's so many things that I just randomly talk about every day that I don't realize that people don't even know are out there. Things that can read your frequencies, things that can actually, like little tools that actually help you to um really literally change your frequencies. The things like essential oils, the things like, meditation, all those are sort of in our field, but there's lots of other tools out there that just, I'm going to kind of do a little glance over everything so that you guys have a really good understanding of all the frequency machines out there, all the frequency ways of, you may even know more than I do about some of this stuff. But I've done these emotion code readings for a long time where I didn't really even know, when I got into magnetic mind, how closely connected they were, because you do muscle testing. You just do a one-on-one session, and I always did it in person with people because I was a massage therapist. And so we'd look at kinesiology type testing, right? So I would tune into them and I would be able to actually test them to see where the emotion came from, where the what like was it an event. Like I wouldn't actually ask those questions. We go into column A, column B, we go into ages 2, 4, 6, 8. We do it sort of really quick so that we can kind of nail down between 4 and 8, 4 and 6. There was was it trauma, was it, you go into the columns, you just test against all the things, and you can tell the person the exact emotion that's actually trapped, that's stopping them from getting what they want, because you ask them, what is it that you want. So I just used a magnet and I would roll it over their head, generally about 10 times. And then I test again as it released. If it's not, then we do it a few more times. And then we can look at, I usually do like 3 issues sort of thing. And I thought, I wonder if this works online. So I've been practicing with people, and sure enough, I just actually connect into them. I muscle test until I'm in their sort of field. And it's the exact same thing. I could do it online. So it's really fun. So I do this, and then Verena, one of the other coaches that I work with, she does frequency readings where it takes two people, and we do these frequency readings, basically, where we go through each system and we test the number that your frequencies are at and give you the reading. And we have no idea if it's true or not, right? But it's almost always completely bang on, and it's like, that's incredible. So if your health, say, Michelle will laugh at this because I'm using an example she told me of. If your health is at 100, but someone seems really, really healthy, that's kind of a low frequency for health. So if you're trying really hard to shift things, health may be that thing that we would look at first, right? And when I was treating people with essential oils and things like this in my practice, I use this little machine that I have. It's called an Itovi. And what it is, it's like galvanic skin response. So I turn it on, and it's all connected to an app in my phone. It's this little computer. You hang on to it, you put your thumb on top. It scans for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, against 164. I think I can program about 180 something oils in there. And what it does is it gives me a reading. It gives me a frequency reading of your emotional system, and it shows me which emotions are most triggered and which oils will help them the most, because every oil has a frequency. So what it does is sort of compares the frequencies, tells you exactly, because people are like, I don't know what I need. And I'm like, well, let's just scan you and figure it out. A lot of times what would happen is I get also this body scan that shows me structural, brain, endocrine system, immune system, urinary system, it has digestive system, skin and hair. and it lights up at whatever's the most distress. So a lot of times I'm working with people with their bodies, and structural doesn't even flag on there. It's actually brain and nervous system that'll be flagged up. And I'm like, okay, so if we actually go straight to the nervous system, do a little resetting there. And so I would, with a little emotional code, do a little massage, send them with some oils on their way, right? They're good to go. But just having this, now that I can't do massage, I'll just go and scan them. We'll figure out sort of what's going on. I can still set them up with a protocol, and we can still do the emotional code. And now I can do it online. Now I just have to figure out a way to Itovi people online, and I'll be like, this is the oil that you need. But the oils have frequencies too, right? So we can adjust ourselves. Something like lavender, it has a frequency of about 120 to 150, depending on the kind that you're using. And so if you're in a fearful state, if you're in a contracted state that's below 100, that will bring you up above that right away, so that you can kind of get into starting to move into those higher frequencies where we're reaching things like acceptance and joy and things like that again. Hey, Jenny, welcome. Oh, you can't hear me yet, and I'm talking to you. So there's all sorts of little ways to kind of read those frequencies, right? So I'll dive in a little bit more since I'm onto the frequencies already. There's a laser that I have as well that's called this little quantum wave laser, and it's just this handheld laser that I can program all sorts of frequencies into. But it also has frequencies that match the earth, match people. There's one for unwind. You literally put it on the back of the head, on the back of the tailbone, over the adrenal glands to kind of reset them. And what that's doing is it's emitting a frequency that is going to have our body literally match it. So just like we do with the magnetic mind, where we're, sort of tuning that, getting all the parts to kind of work together, the frequencies are much the same, because all these little parts also have frequencies. There's different parts of our body. No worries. I'm glad you made it, Jenny. Thanks for keeping on trying. Sometimes Facebook links and all sorts of stuff are goofy, and sometimes certain devices, like certain ones I've found. So we're just diving on into all sorts of fun stuff, frequencies. And one of the reasons that I thought frequencies would be really cool to talk about is not only can we actually change them and move them, we're affected by other people's frequencies. We're affected by the Earth's frequencies. And there's, some pretty big solar flares, and there's some pretty big sun action happening and things like that right now that are actually increasing frequencies, almost so we're like getting this like defibrillator type of charge every once in a while. And for some, it's been really intense, and it's kind of almost unmanageable. For others, it's instilling things like panic, anxiety, real big stresses and things like that lately, just because it has felt sort of like a lot. But the really cool things that are happening, sort of, that was kind of like the last few weeks. This week we're kind of reaching into that Lion's Gate happening in the middle of the week. We're halfway to the full moon, and we're kind of supercharged. We're kind of going in. Have you guys noticed that August is like super speed? Like
Uh-huh.
July was like almost like kind of like, sort of coasty, and August is just like hang on and go for the ride. It's been at a high speed, and that's because it is pure manifestation time. It is that push. It is. Have you guys noticed all the confident people that are popping out on Facebook lately? Almost like, holy smokes. Not only are there tons of challenges going on, so our groups are really inundated with a lot of coaches right now, but it's happening all over. Tony Robbins is doing one. There's all these different challenges going on right now. Is that your birthday, Ginny? That's right. You have a Lionsgate birthday. Like, this is going to be your year, girl. This is going to be awesome. Know what you want, because right now, hello, Central, welcome. Really know what you want right now, because it's actually, you're going to be able to fine tune it a little bit. You're actually going to be able to really kind of see. I don't know if you guys remember at the beginning of MagMind and stuff, at the beginning of doing work, we try and go to our end result, and it's like, oh, we see ourselves on a stage, and then all of this time we kind of think, is that what I really want? I'm not sure if I really want that. We're getting back to that point where like, F yeah, I want to be on a stage. I don't know. I don't even, you can kind of finally see it. You can sort of finally feel it. You can sort of finally really start to touch it. It's like, it's really coming, really showing up for us this week in lots of different ways. Like all of a sudden, you'll just have the confidence to do something that you don't normally do. Like I keep on joking about getting on TikTok. Well, I finally, for whatever reason, I was in my garden. I was doing what I was happy doing. I was sweating in my garden. I was picking peas that were finally growing because I thought, this has been crazy. I always have a huge garden, and my garden represents my life. Um, Not really sure what you're in here for. I love it. It's absolutely awesome. You're absolutely welcome. And you know what? You're meant to be here. You're absolutely meant to be here at this time. We are, I've been talking a lot about frequencies and the frequencies of ourselves, frequencies of different things. But I'm going to slow it down for just a moment and kind of with our emotional frequency scale that I sort of referred to, it shows our emotions, and our emotions they have frequencies. They've been measured. They are measured in sort of megahertz. The earth and everything is measured in hertz. It's about 7.83 hertz or so is kind of like the normal earth's frequency. So that's kind of something that we tune into. If you turn that into megahertz, that's 78. So that's what our body is kind of generally a little bit lower than. Our body sits anywhere between 60 and 70 to 80, kind of depending on the area. It's a little bit lower going down, a little bit higher coming up, the frequencies of our actual cells when they're measured. And so when I talk about lavender being 130, that's like high energy. That's higher than what our body normally operates at. So it actually makes us feel different. It makes us feel better. It affects our neurological system, right? And I talked a little bit about a couple of tools that I use to sort of measure frequencies and to treat frequencies. And also, we talked very briefly about a couple of frequency sort of treatments that a couple of coaches and I do that actually helps to sort of read your frequencies, sort of let you know where they're at. There's a couple more machines that I'll talk about. I might as well just talk about them now since I'm talking about them. There's two that I'm really familiar with. One called a Rife Machine. You guys might have heard of that before, where it's actually a Rife Machine and a Healy are much like I believe Tesla was even one of the people that had something to do with inventing the Rife Machine, if I'm not mistaken. But they've been measuring frequencies for like a lot of years, right? And one of the things that they found is that frequencies can be shifted. They are going to match a lot like, hey, Chris, welcome. Hey, Jennifer, thank you so much for hopping on. It's nice to see you. Um, it's with the Rife and the other machines. Sorry, I'm all happy to see everybody here. This is so nice. Uh, Basically, what they do is they emit a frequency, and your body is going to match it. So for the Rife machine and even the quantum wave laser, all of the lasers that are out there, the Healy, they're meant to. They are meant to actually affect the frequencies in your body. So if you have things like cancers growing, these are the machines that people will often go to. This is the generally the reason that a lot of people get them, because there is some kind of um, lack of homeostasis in the body. There's some kind of distress going on. There's some kind of disease going on. And so people have been actually, there's many reports and many studies of things that have been helped like crazy just from using these wild energy machines that can just work on frequency, and you don't really feel it. I have some clients when I'm using my laser, they'll actually feel it a little bit. It'll feel kind of buzzy, or I feel it's like sparkly, almost like if the effervescence of 7 Up when you're drinking it, it kind of feels like that. It's like your cells are actually waking up. And you can see it under a microscope after they've done a session. They'll do a live blood analysis, and the blood cells actually change. They stop, being all clumped together. The white blood cells are a little bit more normal. They're not all in 911 state. It's really interesting to actually kind of dive into the land of frequencies. And one of the fun things that I studied was the matrix energetics. And You guys might have touched in it. You might have never heard of this before. And the fun thing is it really doesn't matter. Matrix energetics is meant to be very lighthearted but deep. And the reason I say that is that he's a doctor, chiropractor, everything. He's got degrees coming out of his yin yang that sort of wrote this matrix energetics. It's Dr. Richard Bartlett. And he's one of the ones that Chris Duncan had studied as well. But he doesn't ever really talk about the frequencies as such. He has a few different oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's really fun actually to dive into these frequencies. So one of the things that Dr. Bartlett always talks about is the fact that the goofier the better. So he'll sometimes, when he's doing it, he is kind of silly about it, and he describes it like these frequencies are wild. They go from being a nice sort of rusty kind of smooth feeling frequency to there's some that have dolphins, there's some that have snakes, there's some that have like they're sort of all over the place. So what we're going to do in about probably 10-15 minutes or so is we're going to go into the field and play with these frequencies. So it'll be really nice. It's not going to be my normal meditation, so it'll be good for you, Chris, because you won't it's something you can kind of move around with and sort of feel, and you can sort of use them in your body. I'm going to teach you a few different ways to use the frequencies in your body, because anybody can do this. Same thing with the energy code. I was talking before about how I could treat people just by using this magnet over and doing muscle testing. As coaches, for a lot of us that are coaches, this is what we do. We do the muscle testing anyways, right? So there's no reason you couldn't, you don't even have to invest in it. You can read about it and just sort of explore and work with your friends and family on it. Same thing with matrix energetics. You can read, you can explore, you can do this with people. So that's like, I like teaching people things that they can sort of use on themselves. And this is really beneficial for a lot of things. The frequency 5, for example, it's great for panic attacks. It's great for all sorts of things. So all of a sudden it'll give you this extra tool in your toolbox. I just have a couple more people hopping on here. So I'll end up putting out the replay for sure so that people can at least check out the stuff that I already yavered on about, because I end up talking really fast and I end up talking quite a bit. So thank you everybody for joining. Welcome, Roxanne. I think you were the last one in that I didn't get a chance to say hello to. Thanks for coming in tonight. So we're just talking all about frequencies. So when I talk about the frequency emotion scale that we're going to be diving into next week, we look at the emotions as kind of a contracted state where when they're lower than what the body is even at. When we look at cancer, things like this, the frequency of those diseases, it's in at like 20. Like under that is death. Like if you don't have frequency, there is no life in the cell. So this is like really serious stuff. Like it's with matrix energetics, it's kind of goofy. We're throwing lights at things. We're pretending we're tanning like we're in Goldfinger. We're doing goofy things. But that's how the body actually heals. That's how getting into those emotions, getting into those sort of higher frequencies enables the body to really shift. And getting into those frequencies is really easy right now, just because of Lionsgate, just because of, so if people doubted their intuition, they're going to feel it. If people were struggling in the last couple of weeks, they're going to feel this push, this cosmic energy kind of helping them to just have that confidence. It's really neat because I see it across the board, and I see it's not with one person, it's with everyone, especially in my field right now. It's probably because of what I do, but even people that I just end up hanging out and talking to, they're like, actually, I've had like crazy aha moments lately, and the dreams, they're wild. And I'm like, I know, it's really neat. The thing is to pay attention to those and to really listen to them. And if we're in a contracted, fearful, painful, angry state, do you think we're really going to notice? Like, for example, I always have a story. My husband today we're getting to go away this weekend, and we're getting to go away to a friend of ours has this great little cabin in the woods. They have a boat. They're going to take us out, and our we have a boat. Our truck's been broken, so we haven't been able to go anywhere this summer. My husband's going away next week. I've been sort of preparing for this all week. I've been really excited. I've been, getting the groceries ready, because it's a lot to be able to go away. Yet he just found out he has to go away next week. And so he came home today. He's got our dryer broke last night. Like, all these things have been sort of, whenever we try and go away, our old story was something always happens. And so he's still living in that time zone, in that reality, and I'm over here going, but it's okay, it was just the element in the dryer, and it's okay, you can fix it. We didn't have to call someone, we didn't have to. But I'm not in his foot where he's been working all day, and now he's fixing our freaking dryer because it's broken. He's leaving on the week next week for work. And yeah, so we have to coexist in other people's frequency. And in that state, he's in this contracted state. It's hard to see all the wonderful things that are going to be about not having to do anything this weekend, because we never do nothing. And I think the resistance to that is almost strong too, because to go away and do nothing when you're a person that does something all the time, it can almost be stressful, right? We have these emotions. So I guess what I'm trying to say with my story is that if we want to make choices that are actually going to benefit us, if I was matching his vibration right now, we wouldn't be going, right? Like, we'd be staying home and we'd be having a staycation. I have all the food. We have enough booze to last us for about 4 days because we never go anywhere. So I ended up buying him a whole bottle so that you know, it's but instead, I'm just hoping that after the dryer's done, I can help raise his vibration a little bit. Might take some oils, might take a massage or an energy code, something or other. But when we have this handle on, when we want to really control our emotions, it comes down to, we could end up having a little bit of a talk later, and I can end up, sort of helping him raise that vibration up a little bit. But we could choose to stay there, right? We could totally choose to stay there. It's all about the choice. And right now, we have this push to kind of show us who we really are meant to be, who we really want to be. And if anything's been triggering us, it's because it's showing us what we really want. So it's all about the lessons right now. It's all about really looking at what's coming in our field, what's coming at us, what kind of things have been put right in front of us to really see. Now, this whole Lion's Gate, this is about shedding that skin and actually doing it, because we've all been taking on information, learning, 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 learning. Now we have to kind of switch into that doing, because we've been doing, but are we actually doing the things that are bringing us exactly where we want to go? Are they in alignment? And this has kind of been what this whole schmuffle of May, June, July was, to sort of show us those things that really are in alignment with where we want to go right now, right? These things, they come in, they show us exactly what we don't want. And maybe if we were having a hard time figuring out what it was we do want, we're certainly pretty clear on that right now, on what we don't want, right? And that's such a careful balance, because when we do know what we don't want, we have to also not be trying to avoid it, right? We're always trying to avoid something or sort of chase something. And when we're not doing either, when we're actually, this is what this lesson about Lionsgate is, to have that faith, to be open to these new opportunities, to maybe not be so quick to just kind of dismiss ourselves, to really kind of give ourselves that little bit of a chance right now, to really see what the universe is putting out there for us, and to just truly do the things that we enjoy doing, so that those happy things, those happy vibrations are exactly where we're at. That frequency has risen just by us moving into joy, just by us moving into, that's over 300, moving into joy. That is way up there. That's the only other thing I can think of that'll get you to 300 that quickly is laughter, where you can actually raise above it a little bit higher, because you're moving straight into gratitude, or you're moving straight up, right? But something like rose oil, rose essential oil. Rip a head off of a rose. Someone gives you roses, crush it up, put it in your bath. That's like 330 hertz right there. You can just literally raise your vibration to just by being and having that rose absorbed into your oil. Yeah, gratitude is up around it's around 500. So that's where you're actually living in 5D, and that's where we're supposed to be right now. This is that Lionsgate that can bring us into that sort of 5D world, and where we can actually go there and stay there. And then it's way down to get back down to 20. That's a big climb to have to get all the way back down there, especially when you start working that gratitude muscle, when you start working those higher frequencies a little bit more and staying there a little bit more. That's how it gets easier and easier. That's how those little shifts, noticing, how am I feeling? These emotions are telling us something, right? We're going to dive into it a ton next week. But my fave four are really look at, are we angry about something? If we're angry about something, it's literally that our boundaries are being crossed. And that's our body telling us we are growing up. We're actually maturing. And this is the thing, we can see it now from this perspective, not just that inner voice that's talking anymore. We've learned how to kind of shush that a little bit. We've learned how to be able to let that one that's whispering, that's telling us what we really want, to sort of speak a little bit louder. And by sort of rising up a little bit, taking that sort of mature look at everything, isn't that interesting? Okay, so why is this in my field? Rather than going really quick from that anger or that fear space of really low vibrations, contracted, we're going to make totally different decisions and choices if we're in that state versus a little bit higher. You guys are so cute. We we are, it's hard. It's hard work, right? Like it is hard work. Think of the path of least resistance. Would it be easier to just be sitting back, having a few bevies out, or is it a little tougher to, make sure that you're actually staying where you want to be staying in alignment with things, really working at it? It's not always the path. It doesn't always feel like the path of least resistance. Alignment is everything. And eventually, when we are kind of able to just sort of navigate those emotions a little bit better, kind of get our frequencies in check, it's amazing how much easier it all is. And some of the frequencies are really fun that we're going to dive into. Like, even if there's things that are out there that you were around someone and it was, we're a lot of us are sort of empathic and have, we're sensitive. So if you're around someone, even if it's something, Dr. Bartlett even jokes supernatural, like if it's something that's, a curse, if it's something that's following you, if it's whatever it is, there's frequency number 7 is actually the one that's going to sort of dive in there and do a little bit of house cleaning. It's really neat. So if you ever feel like something like that's going on, you just literally picture this frequency, and we're going to sort of tie it all in after so that you guys can feel them and know exactly what I'm talking about. So cosmically, I mean, the big thing is this is about our capability. This is sort of like where the people that felt that I'm not capable and I'm not worthy, that's dropping away right now. That's kind of like this big drop, this big skin that ends up getting to sort of leave our fields right now. And so go with it. Really notice the things that are going on. Now, did anyone, I just like unloaded a whole heap of information on you guys about frequencies. Did anybody have questions? I know a lot of you kind of came in maybe a little bit behind. You didn't miss tons. We do have our emotion frequency scale. I probably could have even prepared a little PowerPoint for you guys. Drinking from a fire hose. These are so cute. Did anyone have any questions or anything before I teach you guys a little bit about the matrix energetics?
So far, it just really feels affirming to things I already know somewhere in me. So thank
Nice.
you.
Nice. I love it. And that's, that is being in alignment when you kind of get that feeling. Just, I really feel like no one is ever here for an accident. And I'm so grateful that you guys are sharing space with me and allowing me to share some of the goofy stuff that floats around in my brain with you. Ginny, yeah, I'd love to hear.
Well, thank you for what you shared. I'm sorry I was late, and I wanted to hear your intention for this session so I can honor that and how I'm receiving it. If you wouldn't mind sharing
Excellent.
what the purpose in your thought was, so I'm in
So
alignment with that.
there was a lot that we kind of unpacked there. This session is a little bit different in that normally I take us through like a really big meditation. We kind of focus on one thing, whether it's energy clearing, whatever it might be, balancing certain things out. This week, because we have our emotional mastery coming up, what I wanted to do was kind of help um, people, because it's just so common to me, all the things that I do with frequencies. I wanted to help people get a bit of a grasp on all the weird things that are out there that are able to kind of affect our frequencies, heal our frequencies, read our frequencies, and the different ways to do that. And my intention for the end, what we're going to hop into right away, is we're going to do a little bit of a closed eye process, a little bit of playing with the matrix energetics. We'll go for the top 10, I think, frequencies, and they were created with Dr. Richard Bartlett, and there was about 3 or 4 other scientists that were in on this, and they all sort of did this succinct meditation where they basically dialed in these particular frequencies, and they were all completely concurrent with them, and they've been using them for years and years. He teaches a few different courses, and it was one of the things that I have a lot of fun with. It really helps me to get to sleep sometimes, to sort of balance and get my emotions in check. And it's not something we're going to be going through tons in, actually, probably at all, in the emotional mastery. But I found that it was something that I really loved. And I kind of wanted to share it with whoever was here tonight to be able to use them, with your family and friends. Use them on yourself, play with them a little bit. If you wanted, I can end up posting the different frequencies as well. So matrix energetics, it's a whole class, it's a whole course that I took about 15 years ago. And what it is it's based on the premise of energies and frequencies. And it was kind of this system that was created by these doctors and then studied. They basically did years and years and years of studying with people, kind of like case studies, doing all sorts of things. Hey, Heather, welcome. Your perfect timing. We're just talking about the intention for the evening, and I'm just going to dive right into playing with some matrix energetic frequencies. So, frequencies are something that basically are all around us. They're in all of our energy centers. They've measured all of our energy centers at different frequencies, raising all the way from anywhere in between about 50 and 70. Just sort of as you get higher, it goes a little bit higher. They've even all of the glands, they all have a different frequency. All of the hormones have a different frequency. All of your cells have a different frequency. They all just sort of resonate in and around the same way. So I talked a lot about reading and how to and that kind of thing. So I'll make sure you guys get replays if you wanted them. Just make sure, throw me a message, and I'll make sure I get that to you. If you're not in my group, my replays are always in my coaching group as well, so you can always find them in there. And so my intention with this is to be able to give you guys a new tool that you can use that is very, very simple, and it takes no training. It really takes no training. Just like meditation, it's all in the allowance of the mind to be able to sort of literally go out and play in the field. And so we're going to go out and play in the field with these frequencies, and there's nothing ever, you always have full control over them. And the really neat thing is when you kind of utilize and use these frequencies, you can get even more control over your feelings, over your emotions, over things that are going on, just by allowing yourself to feel a frequency. A lot of times people go and they try and meditate, and they don't know what to meditate on, or they just sitting silent is kind of difficult. So one of the things that we can do is we can sort of wrap ourselves in some of these frequencies. We can just imagine them sort of enveloping our body, sort of moving through our body. And the biggest thing with this is actually imagination. Imagination is kind of the key. When
Imagination station.
Yes, exactly. Imagination station. It's literally a matter of kind of this time is generally the best time to do something like this because we're sort of open to it. Our bodies are open to it, our minds are open to it. That we know that there's a connection, right? There's definitely something that's kind of like a higher source than us. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to use the superconscious field, pardon me, to help our unconscious mind and our conscious mind get wrapped around these frequencies. And so I'm going to be describing them in how they look. There's a bit of a color to them. It's literally kind of going into the field and um, noticing everything again, feeling whatever you feel. A lot of times you can actually, with frequency 2 and frequency 3, you can almost pretend that there's like a ball of energy in your hands. And I've done this with some of you before, I know, where we've actually created an energy ball because I do the bioenergy work, and we've actually created a ball. I love it. I love it. You guys are amazing. This is awesome. You know what? The beautiful thing about these frequencies is they're actually, I'm going to give you a protecting frequency. And this is exactly how I do it. This is exactly how I do it. I use frequency 8 usually as my protective frequency. So you can literally do that when you are tuning in and working with people as well, because it does. It's just this literal, or number 5, actually. You can pick whichever one feels the best to you. And the thing is this is all going to be on a switchboard. So we're going to end up imagining that we have this switchboard, and you can turn these frequencies up or down. If it feels really good, you can turn it up. If it feels really bad, you can turn it down. Generally, none of them really feel bad. Some of them can just get kind of intense, especially frequency number 2. It's frequency number 2 is kind of that one that when you know a lot of people, they go into a room and a computer just starts acting wonky on them, or they'll do something on the computer and someone else will do the exact same thing and it works for them, but not for, it's generally they kind of glitch things out or watches break on them. Their frequency 2 is often very high. They'll have a hard time sleeping, so they'll be kind of wired all the time. So when we go into it, you can actually invert that when you're trying to fall asleep. If you're that person that makes computers glitch, I know there's certain times that my frequency 2 is a little high, so I'll literally turn it down if I'm having a lot of communication problems, or I always turn it to sort of like making sure it's not overly high when I'm going to go on Zoom so that I'm not glitching anything out. And literally, if I can't sleep, I pretend that I'm shutting that switch off. And so we're gonna make a little, or streetlights burn out. Yes, if that's you, frequency 2, baby. You're rocking it. It's high. So it actually gives you this ability to sort of be able to feel. And for a lot of us, we can feel. So I wouldn't just do this with I with like, brand new people that have never done any kind of energy work or anything, because they might just think I'm absolutely crazy. But I have a feeling you guys are all here because you're up for playing in the field. I think with most of you, we've played in the field, so you're able to just kind of hop in there. And you can't do this wrong. You literally can't do it wrong. Anyone can do it. There's absolutely no one that cannot do it. So you really can't mess it up. There's nothing that you're not going to get about it. It's nothing that you have to know. There's no oh, isn't that cool? Your street lights flash out. That's exactly it. Hey, you guys totally have your frequency 2 now. So you can think of that before you go, and see if it actually, you can play with it a little bit. Stand under the street light and actually play with your toggle switch and try and turn your frequency 2 up and down and see if the light switches. You'll laugh. That's kind of cool. So yeah, essentially, Dr. Bartlett is the one, and it is called Matrix Energetics, and he has like 3 courses. There's like an alchemy Matrix Energetics too, for magicians kind of thing, where you end up having, that's too funny, Heather. his frequency too is very high. It's really wild. You'll notice that too. You'll think of this too when people are like, "Oh, my watch just died all of a sudden." As you walk in, you can turn down your number two a bit. Um, but yeah, it is. He's magic after all. And the neat thing is you can tell if people's frequencies, you can often feel them. Hey, if you guys are around certain people, you can probably just feel their energy. That's literally a frequency that you're feeling. So the more we know, right? This is just education. This is just fun tools, and again, nothing harmful. It's nothing black magical. It's nothing too woohoo, but it's really definitely something that is not for everybody. So if you don't love it, I will not be offended. This is just a tool that I found really helpful, especially with things like with panic attacks and stuff like that, because I had never experienced them. But after I had been in an accident, like a really, really bad one where I had a hard time driving sometimes in the city after that. Like I was like, I couldn't figure out what was happening. And the only way that I could actually sort of get out of it was breathing. And something really cool about breathing, if you think about it, every single system in our body is either sort of autonomic or not, right? Like it either, like our blood pumping, we don't have to worry about that all the time. If we did, we'd be really in trouble. Our brain firing, we don't have to say, okay, finger point right. We just point it, right? But breathing is something that we can control, but also can't control. It's something that we can't forget to breathe, but we can certainly control it. And that is our key to our nervous system. So a lot of this is just, sort of breathing, noticing your breath. I'm not going to end up making you I do lots of fun breath work stuff too, but we're not going to dive into that tonight. We're going to actually just notice our breath instead of trying to change it or trying to breathe deeply. We're going to get into the meditation by just closing our eyes and just starting to notice our breath. And I'll just guide you guys through making up our switchboard. We're just going to make it look how it looks. And then we're going to, you guys are so funny. I love the chat tonight. Oh, my microphone just fell over. All right. So are you guys ready to give this a shot? Yeah? Awesome. Awesome. So it's super simple. I like doing a closed eye process just because, of course, the more distractions we have, the harder it can kind of be sometimes, right? So I'd like you to just literally get as relaxed as possible wherever you are. You can choose to lie down, you can choose to sit. I'm going to have you kind of point at different areas of your body and maybe use your hands a little bit. So wherever you're comfortable. And I want you to just notice your breath going in and out. I don't want you to change it at all. I want you to just get in tune with it and just literally notice what it's doing right now, sort of what it's saying to you. And you might even feel your body just feel like taking a deep breath. And I want you to just imagine that there's a frequency in your body right now. If you had to imagine there's a frequency at your body, where do you feel like it would be sitting? Do you feel like it's in a fairly expansive state, that you're perhaps just a little above 100 or so, maybe thinking about the first sort of number that kind of pops into your head? Are we feeling slightly enlightened? Are we feeling kind of in acceptance? Like, this is kind of fun. I feel like acceptance is around where we're at, this vibration of around 300, and sometimes we can even hear it. And again, just connecting with your breath, not changing it, just noticing it. And I want you to imagine now this frequency in your body, like almost like a light. And I want you to just feel yourselves feeling light. And as they do, I want you to picture in front of you a switchboard. It's going to be like a kind of like a control board where if you were at a concert or something, you'd have 10 switches. Maybe they are sliding dials that are going up to control, but there's going to be an on and off switch on each of them. And I want you to just almost like Lego start to structure this board in front of you, this light board that controls the top 10 energy frequencies from matrix energetics. And we're going to get into these right away, but first I just want you to picture this switchboard in front of you. Now if you were going to go to the first switch and the first lever, the one that's labeled number 1, I want you to imagine right now that you just turn this switch on. You may hear a little hum or a whir. I want you to just notice that we're turning this switch on, and it's this beautiful sort of red rusty color that's starting to come in. It might be almost like a gold shimmer to it, kind of like a sunset. And I want you to just imagine this frequency. It starts to sort of enhance all the vital energy in your body. It starts to sort of bring up your frequency just a little bit. It's the one that sort of brings all the information into your cells. It's the one that actually brings all the joy into your thoughts and all of the oomph and all of the will. It's the one that's going to help you feel a little bit stronger. That one frequency that's going to help you feel warm, connected to nature, sort of grounded, and it's just a very calming frequency. And I want you to imagine turning that switch up a little bit, sliding that dial, however your switchboard is. I want you to just play with that a little bit. I want you to try turning it up. I want you to feel how it just brings all this information into each and every cell about, how things are. It's literally feeding this beautiful nature energy. It's almost like turning the earth's energy on, just kind of grounding you. And now you can try turning it up a little bit more and a little bit more and seeing how the motivation starts to actually climb in your body. The motivation to feel good, the motivation to do the things that you really want to do. It's like this healing, beautiful energy. It's just actually letting your cells integrate. Just very calming. And you could imagine that red color sort of intensifying. Sometimes if you're having a hard time focusing on something, this can be one to bring in. And I want you to just feel that for a moment as you just notice what your breath is like in your body right now. It's probably a little easier to breathe. It probably feels just good. This is just a good feeling frequency. Now this was the most boring one, and we're gonna just allow that dial to be turned down a little bit. Fun thing about this is you can leave them all on if you want. They work beautifully with each other. But this is kind of like the switch to if you were gonna miss your walk and you just needed to be out in nature. You can have frequency number 1 turned up as much as you need to, and it's going to give you that sort of warm, fiery, happy feeling that you would get if you were sitting at a bonfire. And now I'd like you to turn that one down as much as you want to, and if you wish to, you can turn it off so you can feel each of these frequencies really separately. But a lot of people like to leave this one on just because it feels so good. It's just like, no, I'm just going to leave it on a little bit. And we're going to go over to frequency number 2 switch, and we're going to turn this one on. Now, this is the one that I was talking about, that the computers glitch and the watches burst. So if you don't want to turn this one all the way up, I completely understand. But I want you to just imagine that right now you're turning on the switch to number 2. And now this is a blue-yellow type of a light. It's almost electrical in feel, and it would move almost at the speed of light. This one would be moving and sort of bouncing around the body a little bit. It sort of governs everything to do with the nervous system. So if we're in fight or flight, it can be moving even faster. But when it moves fast, it's actually sort of healing and repairing at the same time. Sometimes when we have more healing and repairing to do, it can be at warp speed. And that is why a lot of times these things glitch out on us. That'll explain that ex-husband, Heather. And now I want you to just imagine, if you can, holding out your hands. You can actually do it if you want to. But I want you to imagine harnessing this frequency number 2 in your hands, and perhaps turn up your lever just a little bit till you're comfortable. You can turn it all the way up, but you might feel sparks in your hand. It might feel almost like you're holding electricity. Now, the beautiful thing about this one is it actually helps to polarize your nervous system. It actually allows you to see what you need to see. It allows you to have that electrical charge in your body to get through some of these things that we need to. The thing is that it's so quick and it heals so intensely that when we turn it up and when we leave it up, it can end up actually affecting outer things like electricity. So the key with this one is actually bringing it in, and we almost pretend like we can put it in a water gun, and we can just shoot it at the areas that need it shooting at once in a while. This one's really nice if with headaches and things like that tend to happen. I'll pretend I'm shooting number 2 at my head, and it sort of allows the nervous system to polarize and disperse again. You can take that little ball of energy and you can actually almost sort of shine it up and down your body. And I find when I move it, it feels like it's actually light. Almost like you were moving a light bulb up and down your body. And where that light shines, it's able to go in and literally polarize and neutralize the nervous system. So again, this is great. People have things like MS and nervous system problems. If they have autoimmune diseases, this is something that you can actually help them to move through their body. And if it's something where it's trying to repair all the time, what will happen is at night, when the body shuts down, all of those beautiful frequencies can end up still working. So you can end up allowing yourself to use that frequency as a bit of a scan before you go to bed, and then you turn it off and it just shuts that nervous system down. I've seen people do that and fall asleep literally within 90 seconds. My hands got really tingly during that, so I'm just going to bring some energy work into the session here, just to help you guys be able to feel that as well. So now with number 2, it's a neat one. If you want to keep that ball of energy in one hand, we're going to hop over to number 3, which is our beautiful mother energy. And now these two go beautifully together, and I love to try and hold that mother energy in one hand and that number 2 frequency in the other hand. And I like to almost envision them working together as kind of like a figure 8, even having the energy kind of wrap around in a figure 8 when you're thinking of these 2 frequencies. So the third one is a rose pink type of color. This is literally our maternal frequency. So this is kind of like that mother's love that just sort of wraps around you. It's harmonizing, it's balancing, it's feminine energy. It allows the energy to actually sort of balance out with number 2. So we can dial this in, we can turn on number 3 and allow it to just enter the field in this beautiful rose pink color. I almost think of it as like a big double bubble moving through, like this big bubblegum type bubble that just comes and sort of wraps you. Now this one will hold you with your feminine energy. If you're a person that's kind of needing to tap in a little bit more to the feminine, number 3 is where to go. Now some people feel frequency changes when they switch the switches on and off, and I want you to just notice if you're not feeling it, that's okay too. You're simply allowing these frequencies to just come into your field. You can choose to turn them up or down as much as you want, but it is really fun to play with. So I encourage you to just wrap yourself in frequency number 3 right now, like a big bubble, and toggle that switch up just a little until it feels comfortable, until you're getting the nicest, warmest hug from a maternal source, whether it be like mom, auntie, grandma. That's the energy that comes with this particular frequency. 2 and 3 are the best that work together just to sort of help balance you out if you're feeling like you need a little bit of energy, like you need some motivation, and you need to be really clear on your choices. You need to be receiving. This is the one that helps us get into receiving mode, just like a hug. When we're in receiving mode, that is such a beautiful energy, and it allows anything to come to us. I could just sit in frequency number 3 most of the time. When you're ready, we can turn number 3 back down. Some people just choose to leave it up. But you're going to want to feel frequency number 4. Frequency number 4 is my first aid bandage. And frequency number 4 reminds me a lot of like a clay mask at a mineral spa. And if you have anything that's hurting, if you have anything that's sore, if you have anything that is broken, if you have any area of your body, anything that needs literal pain relief, this is the frequency you're going to want to turn on and tune into. Now, frequency number 4 is a darker color. So think of mud mask, think of ground coffee, almost like granules or crystalline type of substance that's just sort of moving. And you can almost imagine either scooping it up in your hands and spreading it on an area. And I want you to imagine you have a sore area right now, just something that's kind of bothering you. If your back's a little stiff, if your neck's sore, if you've sprained your ankle, if you have some swollen feet, if you have anything that's even a sore finger, I want you to turn the switch on for number 4 and start to really feel the healing benefits of this dark frequency that's absolutely healing, absolutely beautiful, and has this magic quality, almost like a spell that you could literally put on an area to have it start feeling better almost right away. This is like muscles, tendons, bones. Dr. Bartlett jokes about Harry Potter spell that they do to repair bones, but it's a lot more painful than this, and this does the same thing. He literally fell off a stage, wrapped his leg in frequency number 4, and was able to just get up and walk on it the next day, and it actually was fractured. But total pain control just with this. You can take your hand and you can almost pack it into the area. You can pretend it's made of like an ace bandage, and you're just dipping it in the mud, and you're just wrapping it around an area that's sore right now, just almost like you're with your magic wand, just literally wrapping the area. And the area usually feels, it'll either get a bit of a temperature change, or it'll actually feel almost like it's getting blood flow again. You'll feel like all of a sudden it's not aching anymore. And you can do this again fill it up like a water gun, and you can shoot it at someone way far away if they need some pain relief too. You can actually, in your mind, send this frequency number 4 over to someone else for healing. Can ask them if they would like it, if they would like to accept that. They might think you're nuts, or they might actually really appreciate it. What a tool. I've used it so many times. And if you don't feel it, I want you to just sort of turn that frequency up a little bit. I want you to use your master board there, your big computer board. I want you to just use that switch of frequency number 4 and just turn it up. And perhaps take a nice deep breath and just enjoy that beautiful dark crystalline energy just encompassing and healing that whole area. And just enjoying that energy for a moment. We're going to hop over to the next switch. So I'd like to invite you to turn down number 4 a little bit if you want. A lot of people just like to leave that one on. It just feels good. You can never run out of energy in these switches. You're never going to run out of electricity to run them. So you can always have them operating. You can always have them on. And you can have them all on at the same time, and it's not going to harm anything. It's literally just, we're telling your cells exactly which vibration they can match to right now. We're giving them that point to move to. It's absolutely beautiful. So bring that toggle switch down on number 4 as much as you want or as little as you want. And we're going to go over to number 5. Number 5 is really fun because it's actually another one that's sort of this universal essence. It's kind of like your major communicator, your mother energy again. You're into nice, beautiful pink hues. Some people even find that this one can be a little bit womb-like. It'll actually bring you back to your childhood fun and your childhood feelings. So I want you to just imagine turning this switch on right now. And just allow the feelings that come up with feeling into that feminine energy, back to that number 3 frequency as well. It blends very, very beautifully with this. This one is just allowing it to actually integrate into all of the other systems of the body, into all of your thoughts. This will make feelings actions. This frequency can allow you to actually get out of your shell. This one can actually really calm you down if you're having a super stressful day. This frequency is a lot like feeling like a child. And I want that light-hearted feeling to just come about as you turn that switch up just a little bit, just toggling it up, toggling it up. Feeling love from source. And it's going to connect directly into frequency number 6. So we're going to leave number 5 on, and we're going to allow number 6 to turn on at the exact same time, which is going to bring us almost like we are in the womb. This is kind of a watery, iridescent-y type of feeling. So turn number 6 on. And just allow yourself to feel that for a moment as the frequency shifts into this beautiful, clear, blue, emeraldy green kind of color. And a feeling of safety, a feeling of being completely wrapped in the womb. This frequency is actually made to heal in utero, to heal past lives, to heal generational traumas. This is literally like being in a womb with that gel-like sort of substance, and you can actually make pillows out of this and pretend that you're just lying on a pillow. You can literally go into it. You can imagine making a big mattress of this beautiful frequency and literally just floating on it. If I'm working with people that have tumors or really big traumas, this is the one that we use. This is the frequency that we use. I actually have them enter this frequency with me, frequency number 6. And it allows us to sort of go back into that womb-like state where that DNA is so receptive, where it's learning everything. And we can allow that frequency to run through our body as almost like a little bit of a house cleaning crew. We don't need to know what it's touching on. We just invite it into our body. We invite it into our field. I love going to sleep with this one when I make a pillow out of it and I just literally put my head in it. It's like it sort of almost envelops me. And I want you to just allow that enveloping feeling of this frequency number 6 as you turn it up a little bit just to what you're comfortable with. You can turn it down. And just feel as number 5 and number 6, some of that maternal love, some of that deep healing on a systemic basis. Literally allowing that body to almost recode with those frequencies, just allowing anything to be pushed out that doesn't need to be there anymore, just literally cleaning. And now I'm going to have you turn down this frequency number 6 as much as you want to. It is a beautiful feeling one. Some people choose to keep that one up a little bit too. But it can be intense for some people where they actually feel like they just need to kind of go cocoon themselves into a bed or into a bath, or can sometimes be a little bit much. So enjoy it. Use that one if you are working with people. You can actually help to literally have them in that beautiful frequency, and it just allows that healing with as little stress on the system as possible. And now we're going to go into frequency number 7. So once you're ready, we're going to turn number 7 on. And this is your battery recharge station. This is when you are burnt out. This is when you are drained. This is when you cannot carry on, when you are not coping. If you are having panic attacks, if you are unable to breathe, you can turn switch number 7 on. Frequency number 7 has these beautiful sort of burnt orange tones. They're sort of earthy fall tones. It's like this beautiful fall color that just sort of comes to light. When you turn it on, this one often people hear or feel. I just got it. The shift in my ears. It's like someone turning on a TV or something in another room, or a radio that it's not turning on, but you just feel that shift in vibration. This is like literally in going and plugging in and tuning in. It's a major detoxer. It's super grounding. You can almost feel the heaviness of it, where you don't feel like you're just going to sail off at any moment. You can turn it down a little bit if it feels too heavy, if it's pulling you down. You can turn it back just a little bit. This is really good for emotional change. Like I say, if you're going through a major anxiety moment, you can literally imagine turning this switch on and just letting this frequency run in your body. And some people see it in different ways. Some people see themselves literally plugging in like a Tesla, where you just bloop, put it right into your back and just let it sort of rise in frequency in your body. Some people feel it in that shift in their ears, and it sort of moves down their body. I imagine this one coming in with my breath, because I allow it to come in through my nervous system. I allow it to move through my endocrine system. This one is going to help to reset things endocrine wise if I'm working in with fertility, really deep emotion where things are just really raw, where people have a really hard time letting go, just allowing that process to happen. This frequency is really, really helpful. I want you to just imagine feeling this beautiful sort of reintegrating frequency move through your body as you turn that up to as much as you want to, just so you can feel it. Almost play with it, experiment with it a little bit. This one will actually help to transform cellular memory, so it'll actually help to really create change. And being detoxifying, you know how it would be so good for certain people to be able to just cleanse some of this toxic stuff through your system. So this is kind of our own stuff, our own body systems. This is our house cleaning crew. This is one that is just going to be able to let go of things that aren't serving anymore. If you're just ready to make that shift, this is the frequency you want to use. There's going to be some serious tapping into frequency number 7. My ears are just ringing right now. It's so neat. And when you're ready, we can turn that frequency number 7 down just a little bit. Remember that one if you ever can't breathe. Remember that one if you are in a situation where you are feeling like anxiety is taking over your body. You can literally allow that frequency to just be turned up and tuned in, just like those beautiful fall colors. And if you've already lost track, because there's so many, you don't have to worry, because frequency number 8 is the one that will actually help them integrate them all. So number 8 is kind of like a master switch. Number 8 has a lot of masculine energy to it. It's all about the experiences. It's all about your activities. It's all about making the most of your life. It's all about manifesting. Frequency number 8 is a beautiful one to be able to tap into at any point. This one is iridescent. It's kind of like when you see heat on a highway, or you see an oil slick after a rain. It's those colors. And I want you to imagine those colors just embracing you right now as you turn on switch number 8. And you just allow that frequency. This one is the one I use to help people with addictions, people with who've had that real struggle of not being able to see their genius, not being able to get out of their own way. Frequency 8 is often the one I will tap into. Not only is it going to wrap frequencies 1 to 7 in and around the body where they need to be, but it actually integrates them all. So this is like the do button. This is the now that I've learned it all, now that I know what I need to know, I'm going to use frequency number 8 to help me truly integrate what I need to integrate, to help me let go of the things that I don't need anymore, to really help me embrace moving forward. This is all about action, this one. So I want you to feel that switch as you just move it up, and now you can play with these frequencies if you're really needing some courage to be able to get yourself out on a platform, if you're really needing courage to just be able to make a call to someone because you know you were wrong, if you This is a beautiful frequency to just bring in, giving you sort of strength, giving you that inner power, kind of tapping into your inner power button. It helps all your structures. This is your real personality can come out when you can use frequency number 8. If you're even needing to go to a party and you just don't feel like it and you don't want to be around people, turn up frequency number 8 and you'll go in there and you'll just knock it out of the park, and you will have such a great time because you're actually using your energy, using those frequencies to literally just help shine your light. Imagine this one is shining your light. And now frequency number 9. Frequency number 9 is kind of neat. This is the one that I was talking about as the spiritual cleanser, the spiritual protector. So before I go into a session, I will often bring in frequency number 9, just as almost a protection. I can use it during a session, after, and this is very translucent. This is almost like a clear bubble. And right now, I want you to turn on number 9 and just play with it a little bit. This is, I literally picture it as a whole bunch of little bubbles just turning on. And as I turn up the switch, it's like the bubble machine turns on a little bit more. And this is to clean our whole spirit and soul, all of our timelines, moving forward, moving backwards. It's like a defragmentation of our hard drive. A literal cleaner and recoder, a little sweeper of all our little mini computers in our body and in our soul. It's very, very fast. It can be kind of almost animated at times. A lot of times people see cartoony type bubbles or cartoony type of bathtubs with brushes and things that are just kind of cleansing. And this is to clean the stuff that ain't yours even. None of this is yours. This is just in your field, like all those cords that have been cut, all that stuff just literally cleanses and purifies, defragments. Just, I can literally see things defragmenting as we just turn this frequency up a little bit. It's a fun one. Now, this is a protective frequency as well. So if you keep this one turned on, your spirit's always going to be very clear. Those intentions, a lot of people wonder, is this the right thing? Is it where is this coming from? If frequency number 9 is turned on, you literally have no worries. It's like those bubbles will zap anything that's even coming at you. It sees it coming from outside your field. Even thoughts. Frequency 9 can actually be used against thoughts, not against, for thoughts that just aren't serving. You can ask that those bubbles just literally turn up your switch of frequency number 9 on your masterboard and just let it sort of bubble those thoughts away, clean them right away. And the last one I'm going to go through with you guys is frequency number 10. Frequency number 10 is beautiful. Now you can turn down 9 if you want to, but I just like keeping that one up all the time. And frequency number 10, if we want to turn that one on, this is our counterpartner to frequency number 5, which was our real mother energy, or real maternal source there. The feminine energy. This is the masculine energy. Now this one is actually all about love. This is your warrior. This is your protector. This is you're not going out dressed like that frequency. And I want you to just turn that switch on. And just feel the color of dark red. This is almost like a translucent sea cherry car red that you would see that almost color shifts on you when it's in particular lights. And just imagine a beautiful deep red that you can almost see through. And we're going to just turn this one up. And it doesn't matter if you had a father around or not. This energy is that father energy. This is that paternal protector. This is that frequency that isn't going to let anything happen to you. This is that loving shield that you can just literally put up and around you. It's also the strongest, but the most loving energy that you can actually get from these frequencies. It's pure love. It's that pure protection. It's that tapping into your own emotions, feeling that fierce protector, feeling that Papa Bear frequency, and just allowing that beautiful red color to just emanate through your body. And just turn that one up as much as you'd like. And now I want you to just have a good look at your switchboard, and I want you to just notice those 10 switches, and there's 13 more that we can get into, but I'll keep you guys all night. So we're gonna leave our switchboard at these 10. And I want you to just notice what each of the switches looks like. I want you to just notice some of the ones that felt really good. Maybe it was frequency number 5 with that maternal energy. Maybe it was frequency number 6 with the womb. That one felt really good. Maybe it was number 2 with all the electricity and charge. Maybe it was 7 that can just calm those panic attacks, that can just connect with your heart, that can just allow your emotions to stabilize and ground you. Have a look at number 4, that little first aid one that was that dark mud that you were packing in everywhere, and just toggle your switches to where you want them to. You can shut them all off again so you just feel like you again. You can feel more like you if you keep on number 8. If you want to keep tapping into who you are some more, play with number 8. It'll help you sort of tap into your intuition. If you need a little more cleansing, you can hop into number 9, have a bubble bath. And I'd love you to just take a bit of a snapshot in your mind of that switchboard and notice that you can go back to it at any time and you can just play with it. And remember feeling in your hands what you could feel when you were actually touching those energies, and remembering that you can actually share them with people that need them as well. And when you're ready, you guys can open your eyes and come back to me and let me know if you could feel any of those, if you could see any of those, if any of them sort of resonated with you a little bit, and if you have any questions. Oh wow, it's already after 8. Sorry to keep you guys so late. I always plan on being done at like 8 o'clock, and I get into the field, and that was fun. Did anyone want to share? You guys go ahead and unmute yourselves.
That was intense.
Was
I
that,
was busy with a couple of them. A lot of temperature changes. Yeah, that was amazing.
isn't that cool?
Yeah,
And
very
I don't
fun.
want to say what it's going to feel like because for everybody it's a little bit different, but like my hands are just sweating. Like it was just fun. Oh, I love it. I love it, Heather. That's
Thanks for
awesome.
having me.
You're so welcome, Jennifer. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. I'm so glad. So glad. That's excellent. Anybody else? Did you have some fun with that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
kind
was
of an
cool.
old, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll let sorry, I had Ginny up there first. I'll let Ginny share and then hop in Penny. Sorry.
Oh, that was cool because I'd never done anything like that before, so I really felt most of it. And the one where the electric was coming out of my hands, I started to feel the tingle as well.
Cool.
But the third one where it was the kind of the mothering, I think, or like feel the
Yes.
pink cuddle, I felt like a soft, cuddly blanket. That
Oh,
was
that's
that was
exactly what it's supposed to feel like. That's so gorgeous.
yeah.
I love it.
So yeah, and then the scrubbing bubbles came during. I guess that's nine. I don't remember the numbers anymore, but um, the scrubbing bubbles came and like totally, it was so cool because I had been talking about this in another practice session about how when you're a coach, you want to try to have some sort of protective bubble. And to think of it as multiple bubbles was such a cool thing.
Nice.
Like, oh, it's going after all
Everywhere.
of these things. Yeah. So that was really, really neat. And I loved your tone of your voice and it was just really relaxing. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Yeah, it's frequency number nine, the scrubbing bubbles there. For some reason, whenever I do that with someone, they see it as like animated, like that scrubbing. I don't know if it's the scrubbing bubbles thing, but it goes cartoony, like Disney. They'll be like, that was like Snow White's bubbles, like or Cinderella. Like it's really neat. It's funny how it goes animated with that one. It's really interesting. Thank you for sharing, Jenny. I love that you guys just playful out. It's so good. And Heather, I saw your message there. That was so great. I'm glad. Sometimes, yeah, you can almost feel them before you. It's like you. I get the like my ears are just ringing. It's just wild. Penny, go ahead and share. Sorry to cut you off there, my dear.
Oh, that's okay. No, I felt each, I turned each one off after because I wanted to feel the full intensity of each one. But I noticed as I was getting up further, I didn't want to turn them off.
It's
And
fun.
number nine,
Yeah,
number nine, I think the bubbles, is that the bubbles one?
it
Can't
is. You're
remember.
right.
I
Yeah.
was in the more of a shower than a bubble bath, but lathering myself up and just letting just all drain down the drain, all the
Oh,
shit and all the stuff just
love it.
go down the drain. It was, yeah, very intense. I loved it.
Beautiful.
Thank you so
I'm
much,
so
Jackie.
glad. I'm so glad. Thank you so much for sharing. That's awesome, you guys. Oh, that's wonderful. Anybody else? Central, did you want to share at all? I saw you're off mute.
Well, like I heard everything,
Nice.
but I was like in a real active dream state.
Mm.
Like my daughter and two big oversized cats were outside, and I went to go sit in the chair, and the cat was just like put its big paws up and pulled everything out from under me. And I took the front of the chair and pulled it all the way to me. And the cat plopped and I plopped. I was like, what is going on here?
Oh,
It was
that's
just, it was,
wild. You went into alpha
I was
state?
outside and I can't even tell you what frequency everything was. I heard
Oh,
everything, but,
cool.
and
That's
I was trying to, I was imagining myself at a keyboard, like playing music and measuring things going up and down.
I love it.
So I could control and feel the frequency as it was increasing or decreasing. And I was actually teaching it to somebody else when I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just listening to you.
I love it.
And they wanted to know more about the frequency. I was like, okay,
That is so
yeah.
cool.
It took a while for me to come back. So it was
That's
good.
really neat. Yeah, I saw that. I saw you integrating there. That was so beautiful. It was great. It's really amazing because whatever sort of needs to happen in the field does, right? So the frequencies, just as we're introducing them, I just use the visual so that you can kind of feel it, but I don't necessarily do that when I'm working with people, right? Like we'll just sort of I'll literally not even tell them exactly what I'm doing, but I'll, kind of give them little guides to sort of get them feeling that frequency. And it'll often, your nervous system will just go, thank you, I'm resetting now, and just break into that theta state right away. So you got to go into the healing state and all that work got to happen and you didn't actually have to integrate any of it. And when you do, and you want to, you'll be able to literally just I can, you know what I can do is, I think, are most of you guys in my group? Because I can post, I have a PDF with all the like little, they're cute little frequent, like it has the frequent, I have the emotional frequency scale I was talking about, and then I can put like the top 10 frequencies just so you can have a little read up on them, because it's hard when you're in the field to try and remember them all. So yeah, I'll be happy to do that. If if you, yeah, if you guys aren't on my group, shoot me a message and I can send it out to you. It's just a PDF that has them in there. So um and yeah, the book is out there too, Matrix Energetics. Pardon me, I'm releasing now for any, like, there is for healers, for therapists and stuff. If you really love it, it's something you can dive into. It's not, you can dive into it as much as you want. I just wanted to share that with you guys so that now you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I know Matrix Energetics. Let's go into frequency number 9 and go do some house cleaning. It'll be, it'll be beautiful. But
It's
think
like,
about it, if you can't fall asleep, try and actually invert frequency number 2. Shut her down. Shut it right off. Imagine that dial going all the way down. Shut it off. Make a big pillow with your frequency number 7 there, where you make, you're sort of in the womb. Imagine that that's literally happening. You'll be asleep in a minute and a half. Like, it's amazing just dialing in those frequencies. It's kind of cool. Oh, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight, and I really appreciate that. I'll pull out my PDF and put it in the group tonight so that you have it. And if for any reason you are not in there, shoot me a message and I'll make sure I get some of those write-ups and everything in there for you so that you've got it. Excellent. Mwah. Thank you everybody so much for coming. Have, that's awesome. Oh, I love that. Best Friday night I've had in a while. You're so awesome. Thanks, Jennifer. It's, I
yes.
love my Friday nights, and we'll be here again next week. We're doing our emotional mastery, so I think I have my webinar kind of like right after. If you guys need any information on that too, if you want to hop on to any of it, I'm posted all over my page, so feel free to hop on. It's a whole week, but you can just kind of hop on here or there. And I will hopefully see you guys next week. Have an awesome weekend, everyone. Get
Thank you.
manifesting. There's some fun stuff out there to help us right now. So dream big. You got this. I love you guys. Have a great weekend.
Thank you
Love
so
you. Thank you.
much.